Hello, friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
What's up?
What's
Levi.
up, Jen?
You know, stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good update.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we are continuing with the patch 2.4 main scenario quest. We'll be playing through the quest, The Greater Good. But first, what happened last time, Jen?
Okay. Alphino got a summons from an ambassador of the Holy See of Ishgard, and he was very excited, and he asked us to come along, and he was like, when you ask Minfilia for permission, you tell her, bitch, I don't need your permission, you're gonna let me go. And she did. Alphino's super excited because he thinks this is gonna be an inroads to whatever. So we go there, we meet Orchifant, and we have a meeting with Sir Emmerich of the Temple Knights, Lord Commander of the Temple Knights, and his taciturn Temple Knight companion, where Alphino was like, hey, join the Alliance, and Sir Emmerich is like, no, and gives his reasons. And then suddenly there's like an attack on a caravan, and now we all have to like figure it out. We go to the site. It's heretics, of course. There were no survivors except for one. We go talk to the one survivor, and he was like, it was heretics, but then there was like a lady. She said something about Shiva, and we're like, oh shit, Shiva. So we take that back to Horshafant, and Alphino was like, oh my god, did they steal crystals? And Horshafant was like, yeah. And he's like, they're gonna summon Shiva. So now that's where we're at.
Great recap, Jen.
Was it?
Except you forgot the entire first half of the segment last time.
Was it the Immortal Flame stuff with Ilberd?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay. It seemed like the Shiva development stuff was its own thing. I could have sworn that the Ilberd stuff and yeah. So anyway, okay. So on that side of the planet, the Crystal Braves are trying to sniff out a mole within the Immortal Flames, and they only know this person as the Ivy, and they know that I have a bunch of other people working with them in the Grand Companies, and so they're doing an investigation.
Cool. Good recap again, Jen.
Lies, the fact that I had to heavily amend the first.
Out of order, but still complete.
Yeah, like two different, totally separate situations going on.
Welcome to the ARR MSQ.
Yeah, there's stuff.
There is stuff.
We have things.
So we pick up now with Alphino in Camp Dragonhead in the House for Tom Grand Hall. He says that he wasn't really interested in these caravan attacks, which is kind of shitty IMO, but he was like, these were just a nuisance until I realized there was a possible primal connection.
Classic.
But they now have his full attention.
I mean, you know, brigands on the road. We deal with that shit all day, every day. But now that we know they're stealing crystals, then now the science have to get involved.
They are killing, like, House for Tom Knights and interfering with deliveries that are going to Revenant's Toll. But all this is apparently beneath Alphino's notice. His high and mighty attention is not demanded on this incident until there's a primal.
Yeah, pretty much.
But now we have it, and he's going to summon a unit of Crystal Braves, and we will regroup at White Brim Front, where Lord Drillmont has been trying to untangle the mystery of the heretics' whereabouts.
Yeah, so we go to White Brim, and we're in that tower that Lord Drillmont hangs out in, the barracks, essentially. And Sir Emmerich is there. The taciturn Temple Knight is there. We don't have a name for her yet. Lord Drillmont just received a report indicating a group of quote-unquote pilgrims transporting large crates to the west, and their trail totally disappeared at Snowcloak. And they're like, well, that's probably where their hideout is. So Sir Emmerich says that he's going to commit some of his Temple Knights along with the contingent of Braves on this, you know, finding this fucking hideout. This is a big ass deal right now. With that basically decided, Alphino was also like, you know, we shouldn't put all of our eggs in one tactical basket. So maybe we should talk to Lord Drillmont more maybe about a backup plan. And yeah, okay, so this is a little weird. So Alphino was like, let's talk to Lord Drillmont about doing something else maybe. And then we get a cutscene and we see a group of these heretics counting their wares. And
their wares? They're not merchants.
They're not, yeah, correct.
They are counting their booty.
That's the joke. And then, so one of the mages reports we see Iceheart from behind.
We see a blue-robed lady.
With long silver hair.
No
face.
And exposed back of the robe, showing them calves.
We all get this robe. I don't remember what it's called, but I sported mine in like a bright canary yellow for a while. It was pretty fun.
Cool.
So yeah, so he's like, everything's here. We're good to go. And, probably there was some hand rubbing and some excellence, around the room. So that's the cutscene. Now we're back at the spire with Lord Dromont. So since the days of Inquisitor Guillaume, remember that, Lord Dromont has undertaken an exhaustive evaluation of everyone at White Brim in an attempt to find any more would-be traitors.
It seems very stressful to be around there.
I mean, this is life in the Holy See. I mean, everybody is a goddamn potential heretic. This is what it's like living under oppressive theocratic rule. So everyone at White Brim is possibly a traitor, and Lord Dromont is trying to be like, no, I'm canceling that shit right now. But they did find one individual they deemed a heretic.
They also found a few slackers, too, in the process.
A few slackers?
Yes.
Yeah, they're all peeing in that lake with the fish. I don't know. Anyway.
What?
Remember that from the Fisher Quest? They're like, yeah, go in Latrine Lake or something, where everybody all the soldiers apparently pee.
Yes, yep.
But they don't. They just say that so people don't fish in there and get the good fish. So
good callback.
Yeah. So Dromont is like, okay, we're gonna keep an eye on this dude. We're pretty sure he is working for Iceheart. So his watch is gonna end soon, and what he's going to do is tell them what the Temple Knights are doing, what the Crystal Braves are doing. They're going to start hiding shit, locking shit up, and he asks us to follow this man. And we do. He heads southwest into Danafin Pass.
In a beat-by-beat sense, he leaves the fort. We follow. He heads east from White Brim Front, not west towards Snowcloak. We follow him east. We see him go south into Danafin Pass. We follow him into the pass, and we find him in the tunnel yelling for someone. A, quote, suspicious Coerthan emerges from the shadows wearing a gray robe with deep red accents.
Shut up, God.
This guy is carrying a mage's staff, and they ask why the guard is late. But they realize that this tunnel is creating an echo, so they lower their voices. We overhear bits of murmured conversation. The Temple Knights. In Snowcloak. Our comrades in Boulder Downs. Dead before they know what's happening. There's a final admonition about wasting the mage's time, and the guard leaves.
Yep. So, we go back to Lord Dromont, and, well, confirmed, this guy is actually a traitor. Bummer. And he was like, you know what? I have always suspected that the heretics have used tunnels to traverse the land undetected, so also confirmed. He intends to root them out, has sent a contingent of knights to Snowcloak to search for them. He fears, however, that they may be outnumbered and asks us to lend our aid in their search. We head to Snowcloak.
We head to Boulder Downs. We go to Boulder Downs because that is where they dispatched the Knights of House Durandare to look for these heretics.
Oh, okay.
So we go down there. This is the area in southwestern Coerthas with the big circular sweeps of that jagged red crystal covered in snow.
Yeah.
And we find here that the knights have already been felled and there are heretics standing over their bodies. So we drop down, we fight a few waves of heretics, and one drops a note covered in seemingly random numbers.
So this piece of brittle parchment that one of them dropped, it turns out, when we take it back to Lord Dromont, it is a schedule of the watchmen at Snowcloak. At
the Snowcloak encampment that the Knights of House Durandare have.
Right. So they know how their little situation there is structured. They know when they're at their weakest. This is all very bad. This is, traitor guy, that's what he did. So Drillmont fears that it might be too late, but he will send what little reinforcements he has, even if he has to pull them from Stone Vigil to Snowcloak at this point. Because we're like, we're just that slow. We get there right after shit happens. So we rush to Snowcloak, fearing the worst. Hopefully we have enough time to warn our allies that are chilling there, none the wiser. And we're in luck. And we tell Emmerich about all the stuff, and he's like, he will alert his knights to an impending ambush. And Alfino is like, God, we are really not prepared, are we? Instead of hunting down Iceheart and preventing a summoning, here we are scrambling this way and that way.
To cover their own asses, pretty much.
Well, yeah, we keep getting got.
But before you talk to Alfino, you can talk to one of the Crystal Braves, a Lalafell. And yes, and he says that he's so grateful for these uniforms because they keep him warm against the cold.
Aw.
Thank you to whoever designed this great coat.
It's pretty cold. Alfino, maybe look into getting a goddamn coat. Your outfit is full of holes. Like, not holes, but designed cutouts that are very cute. But Jesus.
Are they cute?
Minfilia shows up at some point, and she's got a fabulous coat on. Get a coat.
Spoilers, Jen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we get her for a hot second. You will never see Minfilia in a coat ever again.
Spoilers, Jen.
Sorry, guys. So Alfino was like, wow, we're getting got. And I'm like, yeah, we're getting got. But suddenly there's like a commotion. Not like a commotion. There is a commotion.
This was very confusing. It
was like, what is happening?
So what I think is supposed to have happened is that the heretics,
mini ambush.
The heretics attack us, but then Ida appears out of nowhere to beat them down. But I thought, because it didn't really show the heretics attacking us, I thought that she was like beating up the Knights of House Durandare, and
I was also confused. Yeah, the sequence of events here, I was like, why is stuff happening? Because there's only like 2 dudes.
Yeah.
So if there was going to be an ambush, there would be more than 2
I don't
dudes.
know. The scene's very confusing.
Also, Ida's here for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When
Weird framing.
She jumped in, does a spin kick. It's very cool. But I'm like, who did she just kick?
So
I missed it.
The people she kicked, 2 brave heretics have emerged from somewhere in the tunnels to launch a sneak attack on us.
Yeah, reasons.
Ida foils them. And she asks Alfino how he's doing, and he says, I'm fine, only my pride is wounded.
I mean, yet again, he was caught unawares, and someone else had to pick up the pieces.
Apparently, because, yeah.
Right?
Anyway. Also, Papalymo's here too, but he's going to appear in a few moments.
Yeah, I mean, Ida came in with the style, and Papalymo just kind of saunters in with the knowledge.
Just slinks in, unseen by all, until he pops up in a cutscene.
Hey! Like, oh, shit!
Yeah. Anyway, the only person wounded is Alfino, his pride.
It's like that meme from The Office. Like, Dwight is talking about some shit. I don't remember the scene exactly. I just know the meme. And suddenly, like, Angela is, like, standing fucking right there. And he's like, Angela out of nowhere. That's Papalymo.
After that exchange, a brave rushes up to inform us that they have located a few passages in Snowcloak, and one in particular was defended by heretics fighting as though their lives depended upon it.
So it's probably that one.
Alfino declares that we are going in.
That's it.
But now Papalymo, who Angela's in, says that this could be a trap.
I mean, yeah, Alfino was, yet again, the commander of the Crystal Braves was like, let's do all of this shit. And somebody had to be like, stand down for a hot second, because reasons, don't do what you were just going to do.
After this input, Alfino concludes that numbers would be a disadvantage, but guess who's got 2 thumbs and has 3 or so closest friends? This guy.
Like, yeah, buddy.
So they send in us to explore the tunnels along with our adventure companions, but not too many. Otherwise, Papalymo will be cross.
Right. Well, that's Papalymo's whole argument, which you didn't really expand upon, was that the entrance to this tunnel is super narrow. So we would just be like a conga line of idiots.
I'm pretty sure we could fit a full party in here and not have any troubles.
Well, we'll get in there, and then suddenly we find, oh shit, there's a bunch of people waiting for us, and then, oh shit, our exit is blocked off by a bunch of people. Like, it's the stupidest thing. Papalymo's
it's okay,
hella
Jen.
right.
We can move through each other. It's fine.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Anyway.
So, Papalymo says his thing, and Alfino was like, correct.
So,
we'll
obviously, we're going in with a light party for our dungeon. The tactically correct number of people for this environment. And with that, Snowcloak is unlocked.
Boom. Thank you to the two listeners that joined us on this run. We had Freya Highwind playing as warrior and Kiko Faye as black mage. Super good. They brought appropriate glams to the party as well. They were all bundled up, which was very cute. And total pros. Yeah. So I healed, and Shu or Levi was Dragoon?
Nice.
Yeah!
Jin was white mage.
Yes. It's still hard for me to talk while I white mage, but I thought I did a lot better this time.
Yeah, so
Other time.
This place is very rough on minimum item level. Everyone's
really
auto attacks hit extremely hard, and Freya's health was down to nothing constantly just from the trash pull auto attacks. We could not double pull, period. There's no way.
Mm-mm.
Like, single pulls were tons of incoming damage.
Yep.
But nobody died except for Jen during one mechanic.
Like last time.
So great.
Yeah, so that I think it went really well, and Freya was very kind to start slow, but that's exactly when we found out, oh, we need to continue the slowness. But the dungeon, I haven't done it since MSQ the first time, so it's been a couple of years. I never get it in roulettes, but I haven't done roulettes in a while because pod stuff. And it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Actually. It's a gorgeous environment. The music is amazing.
Love the music, love the environment.
Yeah.
It's very attractive to run through.
Yeah.
And I also have not played it for a long time too, so it felt very fresh.
Yeah.
To me.
Totally. Yeah, it was fun to see mechanics. I'm like, I haven't seen this stuff in a long time. And like,
well, speaking of Jen,
the one that got me was...
this place has been adjusted for the trusts as well, as have many MSQ dungeons. There are some mechanics which are gone forever as a consequence. The new mechanics are good too, but it's a shame to lose the old ones, especially the snowball mechanic in the second fight, which was unique in this game to that one fight.
I wish you could, because they've already done it. I wish you could toggle, give me pre-trust design.
I can see that being a nightmare as far as how do you
then you'd have to divvy up the people who queue.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have to be like a toggle, like in your duty roulette or in your duty menu. Like, do I want, trust times or normal time?
But also, I'm sure they don't want to maintain two different versions of each dungeon in perpetuity. So.
Yeah, I don't know what that means on the back end. I'm sure it means absolute hell.
A pain in the ass, I'm sure.
But good God, that would be so cool, though. Anyway.
Yeah. The new mechanics are good here. Some other ones, I'm less fond of the replacement mechanics. But that's elsewhere, not here. Snowcloak, fun. It's official.
Yes, totally.
So let's get rolling. We start off in a maze of iced over stone corridors with great icicles hanging down from the ceiling. These icicles will fall on occasion, exploding into bursts of ice soon afterwards. And large metal lanterns light our path, casting a warm orange light. So we start off by fighting some snow-themed critters. These are all white-furred creatures, wolves, deer, a bear, and some Spriggans clutching ice crystals. We fight through the tunnels, we get to a camp full of supplies that's also full of animals, and then we get to the bear at the back end of the camp, and for some reason the bear has a key.
He ate it.
We take the key from the bear, and unlock a large wooden gate, taking us to the first boss. This is a big ice golem named Wandil. This guy looks way cool. His shoulders are covered in like a snowy ice shelf, and he has big icicle-studded limbs.
I don't remember him, but that's fine.
Not cool to Jin.
He may have been cool.
So this fight is pretty basic. It's got one mechanic, which I think is the very first time it appears in the game and is not explained whatsoever. So I guess rip you if you don't know how to resolve it. This is the stacking frozen debuff. If you get 4 stacks of the frozen debuff, you will be frozen solid and take some damage over time. It will hurt a fair amount. Probably fatal on mid-eye level, honestly. Every attack he does, not auto attacks, but every mechanic he does will inflict a stack of this frozen debuff, including unavoidable raid wides. The way that you avoid the debuff, though, from the raid wides is that you must be moving while the raid wide goes off. This works just like many other ice mechanics in the game, where if the boss is casting some form of ice, you must be moving when the cast goes off to prevent being frozen in place. This one is more merciful than later ones. Other ones will freeze you on the very first failure of the mechanic. This one, you get 4 chances before you get frozen solid. But yeah, just if you see ice and it's like a raid wide, you can't avoid it. You probably want to be moving during that ice mechanic.
Yeah, run around.
In general. That's the main thing. He's got some AoEs. There are some bombs that will fly in and explode. No big deal. Dodge the stuff. Move when the ice is cast. You're good to go. Overall, straightforward.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beyond the boss, we reach an elevated snowy path. A strong wind blows across sections of this path. When it picks up, if you're inside the windy areas, you'll be inflicted with a frostbite damage over time, so be sure not to stand in that wind. And beyond that, it's very easy to overpull here, even on normal synced, because there's no barrier between you and the next boss, and the enemies here will stack up quite a bit. Most importantly, there are those ice sprites, which for some reason do tons of damage, just like in Stone Vigil.
Yeah.
And also, as you're going by, these snowballs will fall down from above, and inside them there are goobus, like frozen goobus. So you can pick up extra adds without knowing it if you run past these areas where they drop. So you probably want to double or triple pull this, honestly, even on normal synced. But otherwise, though, we just navigate past that, and we arrive at the next boss arena. This is like a snowy ledge on the outside of another cave entrance on the side of this frozen mountain. The boss here is a Yeti.
Yeah.
Just a Yeti.
Just a Yeti.
So, mechanic here, we'll see this as well later on. This guy makes snowballs, and then he will breathe on some snowballs and make them bigger. The big snowballs explode into big explosions. The small ones explode into small explosions. After he powers up some snowballs, he will do a leap. This is like a raid-wide attack that will knock everyone and everything in the arena up into the air. When you fall back down, the snowballs will explode. If you're by the big ones, you will get got. With this very first mechanic, they mercifully give you a small window to avoid the telegraph of the large snowballs before they go off. But in later fights where you get the same kind of avoid the large thing mechanic when you get knocked into the air, there is no window of like escape. So
you just have to know that that's going to be a big AoE.
So pretty much don't be by the big thing when that happens and you're good to go.
Yeah.
That is the mechanic here. Otherwise, just normal AoEs, whatever. There's one fun one, which is when he does like the spin, where he will do like an inner telegraph, then an outer telegraph, and then you have to stand in the outer one and then dodge into the inner one right after it goes off.
I love those.
Yep, the old overlapping AoEs.
Yeah.
Nothing new at this point, but still good times. After that, we enter an ice cavern. Also super cool looking.
Weird.
And
then like the music is the same throughout. It's usually the same.
Yes.
In dungeon. But it's so chill. It's such a vibe. And I feel like I use that word a lot. Anyway, continue.
So we are in this ice cave, and this is where we fight waves of enemies. They will assault us from these various side passages. while icicles rain down from above. We got some void-sent ogres, bombs, and spriggans, and also a cyclops at the very end. And finally, past this cave, we get some actual Dravanians. There are dragons and heretics here. The heretics here will channel like a summoning spell, so you want to kill them or stun them before they get the spell off. It works just like it does in, Amdapor Keep, I think, where they'll be summoning in like Void Scent, unless you kill the guys who are channeling.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill the channelers, kill the guys, move on.
We're hot on a trail. We found some guys.
One of them drops a finger of the apostate.
That's right. Shiva finger.
Which apparently is a key to unlock another wooden gate. And this takes us to a large icy arena containing none other than Fenrir, the great frost wolf.
Ooh.
This is kind of weird. There's no real cutscene or anything, because typically in Final Fantasy, Fenrir is a summon, which would mean in this game he would be a primal, but there's no invocation, there's no explanation as to
He's just
why.
there.
Yeah.
He's just hanging out.
Why Fenrir
Not
is
like
here.
Iceheart's pet or something like that. It's not like she's like, go boy, or like sick 'em, and then she runs away into a tunnel and like Fenrir was like, yeah, get through me, motherfuckers. Nothing.
Yeah, no, just a giant ass frost wolf.
Yep.
Named Fenrir. I mean, I guess he could be like a normal ass frost wolf who they named Fenrir in recognition of the beast of legend, which would be a thing that in the real world people would do. But in Final Fantasy, typically, if you get like the name of some godlike being, it is that godlike being. That's all.
Yeah.
We don't get like people being named Shiva or like Ifrit. Here's baby Ifrit.
No, yeah, these names carry meaning and
Yeah.
weight.
So anyway, either way though, we do fight Fenrir here and now, and it's good. Good fight. So beyond Fenrir though, there are icy steps that lead up to a raw aetheryte. More on that later.
Mm-hmm.
For now, we fight him. So the main mechanic here, there'll be 4 icicles that drop down from the ceiling, and these will block line of sight for an upcoming mechanic. Because soon afterwards, Fenrir does like a arena-wide howl, and if you get caught in the howl, you will be frozen and or one-shot in Jin's case.
Yeah, so the first time they do this attack, we've got 4 icicles. The thing is, in this case, they're all the same color. You stand behind any of them when he does the lunar cry? Yeah. But the next times he does it, 3 of them will be one color and 1 of them will be a special color. Now you have to run to the special color. Is that the blue one or the purple one?
The purple ones are what I'd call the quote special color. Pretty much the normal color good, weird color bad.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah, so the purple ones will explode prematurely, not blocking line of sight from the raid wide, and also hitting you too if you're by them.
Yeah.
So double whammy.
So I was on the opposite end of the arena from the good one. And by the time I realized that there was 3 of one kind and 1 of another, and I tried running to the opposite, that's when I died. I'm like, oh, this is such a classic mechanic. I was very disappointed that I missed it, but my eyeballs were elsewhere. So
Watching them health bars, Jen.
Anyway,
Healers got to do mechanics too, you know.
yeah, that is true. So
anyway,
that's cool shit.
that's fine. We came back, we recovered, we got it done. Beyond the line of sight mechanic, there's one other gotcha mechanic here, which is the Heaven's Ward Roar. So a little preamble for the expansion.
Oh my god.
I know that I'm roaring for Heaven's Ward.
Same.
Cool.
Let's just get there.
We got so much to do still, Jen. We got some shit to do.
Shut up. Ugh.
Anyway, yeah, so this is a largely untelegraphed mechanic. Fenrir will cast it, and very late in the cast, a cone will appear in front of him that will freeze anyone caught in it.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you move before the cast goes off. One of those old cast bar only telegraphs.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. Context clues.
Once he's defeated, we are victorious. Well, to be fair, Jen, I think that especially with the name Roar,
Yeah.
that suggests like a raid wide often. There are plenty of raid wides with the same name, so I wouldn't fault anyone for being caught by that the first time.
Yeah. Though generally a bad idea to just stand in front of a...
Especially for the tank. Don't do that, tank. Disclaimer, that's not true. Tank should be in front most of the time.
Correct.
Anyway, so...
Let them get roared at.
We defeat Fenrir, and someone calls out to us.
Ah. The tales do not do you justice, warrior of light. And it's Iceheart, of course.
Yes, I know who you are, and you know who I am. I was given the name Izel, but I earned the name Iceheart. This endless cycle of hatred, of bloodshed, of sorrow. You would see it continue, O noble warrior of light. I would not. I will not. I will bring an end to this war between dragon and man, no matter the cost. In time, you will come to understand that what we do for the greater good. For Eorzea, for Hydaelyn.
So she talks with us a little bit, and we're at the ready. We're like, I'm gonna slice you.
This is one of those things where the cutscene is so infuriating because we have her weapon out and she literally walks right by us on her way to the raw aetheryte and teleports out. We could have stopped her easily, but we just stand there doing nothing.
Yeah, I like to think that we're not just going to cut somebody down. I mean,
One thought is that her words about ending the war and peace, etc., maybe they get to us and we're like, okay, so is she actually, quote, good after all? Or what? And maybe that pause lets her walk by us and escape.
No, that was my read on it. Like, she actually has a pretty decent, like, we cannot fault her reasoning here. And she's not violent. She's obviously trying to justify what it is that she's doing. And we're not just like in some kind of like blind barbaric rage. We're reasonable people. But yeah, so at some point while she's speaking, we put our weapon away. But she does walk away and she teleports out of there.
Sure. So that brings me to the other point, which is contrary to the first one, which is that our whole job in being here is to
find her,
capture her, right? And also we don't do or say anything afterwards that indicates that, hey, maybe we should rethink this plan to take her down.
When we get back, we tell Alfino, and Alfino agrees. He's like, the letters, what she says isn't wrong.
We are right back on the warpath after this.
Well, we still need to find her because what we're trying to do is stop the summoning.
Sure.
So it's not like, go kill Iceheart, but we need to find her. Like if we had killed her in this tunnel, then the investigation continues, but without her. And who knows, if the heretics would just like flee and we can't assume that they would drop all the summoning plans or if they would still go through with it. Or
taking Iceheart in would be a very good step on the journey towards not having them summon a primal. And letting her go is probably contrary to the goal of not having them summon a primal. And we could easily give her a non-violent or at least non-lethal beatdown because we have done so plenty of times where the person who we're attacking is down but not out after our conflict. I mean, we could have intervened. I know this is a lot of nitpicking on A Realm Reborn, somewhat clumsy storytelling, but also I think here, knowing what we know at this exact time, we kind of fucked up by letting her walk away right in front of us. And then we're like, oh, I guess we're going to go and like keep chasing her down afterwards, even though we could have literally intervened right then and there. And put a stop to at least her involvement in this plan.
Yeah, well, they didn't give us like zip cuffs or anything like that. We're also all alone.
With our 3 closest companions.
I didn't see them in the room with me. That was interesting.
Cowards.
It's pretty weird.
Anyway, that's all. I mean, what I wish they had done ultimately is just bypass that entirely and have her be like on the steps or something and just zoop out without having her walk past us. I don't know if the storytelling intent was to communicate that she gave us pause, but if that was the case, I wish they had sold that better afterwards versus us going right back to the chase.
It would feel better if she were like next to the aetheryte the whole time.
Yeah.
And like shouting at us.
Yes.
Like, Warrior of Light! Aren't you tired of all this bloodshed, this endless cycle of misery and oppression?
That's all.
And then, like, I'm trying to end the war, and then bloop! Like, we have no opportunity. So we can't fault ourselves for just being like, oh, I guess I'll just let you go then. Okay, see you later. Like, totally Rick Moranis-ing it.
Anyway, that's all. It's a minor nitpick, but that scene did bother me. She teleports out, and we return back to Alphino. We tell him that Iceheart got away. He does, like Jen said, acknowledge that, sure, her goal of ending the war is a noble one, but either way, though, we are going to keep on pursuing them to put a stop to this primal summoning, no matter what their motivations may be for doing so.
I mean, yeah, it's a summoning. It cannot happen. It doesn't matter what the fuck. So we deal with that first, and then we'll address, Iceheart's overall missive after the fact.
Yep. Alphino tells us that our scholarly brethren have been scouring all available records for information on Shiva. And by the way, if you're thinking of reporting our progress back to Camp Dragonhead, don't bother, because Minfilia herself is on her way to here right now to survey things in person.
Okay.
And blam, there she is.
There she is.
It's Minfilia in winter coat accessory
and a big
with
coat.
Real cold action.
Yeah, it's like blown in the cold wind.
Yeah. It is a very cute purple winter coat.
It's super cute.
Yep.
So Minfilia and Orianger have been examining the archives at House Fortin, and there is like nothing. Any kind of information about Shiva it's scant, it's contradictory. However, the only thing that all of these reports can agree on is that she lay down with dragons, and this is a mortal sin. So that's all these people know, and that's all that basically fucking matters. So, that said, to the heretics, Iceheart's followers, what this was a holy act. This was union of dragon and man, which is, like, good news. So, it's clear that much of this knowledge of Shiva and this history has been lost to the centuries. And Minfilia is like, I don't know if that's by accident or by design. Great question. And we relay Iceheart's message. And yeah, so, we're like, but she said she's the one since she wants to end the war. And Alphino's like, that sounds fine. And Minfilia is like, that's all well and good, but I'm sure that Sir Emmerich disagrees with her methods. Bold words from Flamine's daughter, wouldn't you say?
It's hard to discuss right now without having progressed further in this plot line, but either way, though, I don't necessarily think that the Ishgardians are going to be amenable to a truce with this blood war.
Nope.
I don't know if I would fault the heretics for pursuing their path towards victory, or at least towards getting to a resolution of some sort to this war. But obviously, we're here with the Ishgardians, and therefore, we're kind of defaulting to their stance. Plus, I guess the primal factor also skews us.
While her motives are noble, is she just saying that? Or will she summon Shiva and lose all control and annihilate the landscape? There are too many variables here, and even if somebody who is summoning, like your control over the summon can only go so far. So it's bad. That we definitely have to fucking, nip this in the bud, and then we'll deal with the politics of it.
Yeah. Minfilia, though, again, she says that Sir Emmerich may object to Iceheart's methods, And right on cue, though, we see Emmerich talking to his knights next to us. He's maybe like 20 feet away. And he's telling them to be cautious in their search. Do not pursue the enemy until the sappers have confirmed the safety of the tunnels. And Alphino hears this and walks over and notes that Emmerich pursues his enemies with less zeal than Alphino would expect.
Yeah, and he's like, this is a very prudent strategy you're undertaking, and I don't mean anything by it. This isn't like a dig on you or anything, but I think we all can agree that those who act under like strict faith tend to be a little bit more zealous.
Emmerich says that there are those who believe faith is a renunciation of free will. Such righteous men serve well on the front line, but less so in command. Emmerich thinks the Fury would allow her followers to choose the way in which they worship, and that she would value the lives of her followers over the deaths of her enemy.
This is a really generous interpretation of a deity's motives. And thank God this man is in a position of leadership. But yeah, it's like so much so that Alphino was like, you are not acting at all how I assumed someone of the Holy See would act.
Despite that, though, he's also kind of shitty. So after that...
This is Alphino in peak shitty era.
Oh,
this
sure,
is his shitty era.
So another knight shows up to report to Emmerich, and Alphino leaves him alone, comes back to the Scions crowd now, and whispers to us that Emmerich's pragmatism is welcome at the negotiating table, but is less so when pursuing someone making ready to harness the power of a god.
Okay,
so
Alphino, point taken. However, I think, once again, this is you wanting to just charge ahead unthinking with your little hubris little boots. And there's a better word for that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's had
your hubris little boots.
Your little hubric boots. What's the adjective?
Hubristic.
So like it's hard. It's something like that. It's hard to kind of listen to him talk like this and be like, bro, you're 16 years old.
Beyond that, it's just
you're too big for your britches.
Too big for your hubristic boots.
I mean, yes. I mean, all of this is, yeah.
But really, though.
He just really needs to, like, sit down. Obviously, Sir Emmerich has an excellent head on his shoulders and is a voice of reason in a sea of fanaticism. So be grateful for that, you little jerk.
I sure wish that Emmerich would send his men charging into the unknown.
He's saying,
consequence be damned.
He's saying dumb shit because he's cold. You know?
Like Jin does.
It's for real. Hate it.
So anyway, Minfilia wonders if Emmerich thinks that the heretics' plan can succeed at all. After all, Shiva was a person, not a god. But Alphino points out that she embodies what the heretics worship. They have crystals and conviction, the makings of a primal.
Like, what else? Crystals and conviction? What else could they possibly need? And Minfilia is like, God, is that all it takes? Yeah, actually.
At this point, a brave rushes up to report. The survey team has analyzed the aetheryte and concludes it teleports to one to the west. But there's no ethereal signature from this other aetheryte. It may be that Iceheart destroyed it to prevent people from pursuing her.
Or they masked the signal somehow.
Sure, yeah. Right. So that means that we may be forced to now search the tunnels on foot for a way through to wherever that she escapes to.
Considering what we just saw in Snowcloak, this is a labyrinth down here. It goes down for hundreds of feet. These aren't just like cute little tunnels. This is a whole thing. So you could get lost for the rest of your life down here. So if we lose the ability to teleport to wherever the fuck she teleported to, this fucks up our whole plan. Like, well, great. We'll find her in 6 months. The summoning has long since happened. God damn it.
But Minfilia says that she may have a Charlayan colleague that can assist on the teleportation front.
Oh, we're so close. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Jin wants it to happen.
So, I do and I don't. No. I do. So, Alphino was like, well, thank God for that. For all the reasons I just said. And the Braves have been searching for the heretics who attacked us this whole time. They have had no luck. So Alphino was like, can you just help, please? One, you know the area. We're here all the time, apparently. And 2, the Crystal Braves have a number of like noobs in their numbers and would benefit from our tutelage. They look up to us a lot and, you know, do that whole thing. Like, okay. So we go talk to Yu Yu Hase, and he's got the deets for us. The heretics were spotted heading to Danafin Pass, as they do. So we head there.
Yeah, this is like a breadcrumb. Oh my God. Thanks, Jen. This is a breadcrumb trail through all of Coerthas, pretty much, or at least Western Coerthas.
Yes.
So we head to Danafin Pass, and then a brave points us to the Boulder Downs. Another brave points us forward. We go east now, and then one says, "Hey, Yu Yu Hase."
So I apologize for interrupting you. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of steps here. You know, we head to the Danafin Pass. We find this is the 3rd unit. This is the 3rd unit. We're going to help the 3rd unit. We find a member of the 3rd unit huffing and puffing in the snow. He apparently twisted his ankle or something. He's like, "You must go follow the footprints." Does this seem like weird to you, or am I just coloring it because reasons?
Weird that they are so spread out.
Yeah,
well,
like
that's what,
so I'm immediately like, you twisted your ankle?
That's what I was saying. It's like they are across the entire Western zone.
Yeah.
They are not together. They have all separated bit by bit.
With heretics about, and it's just like one random dude with a sprained ankle, and like nobody stayed with you?
What happened to them being bound by bonds of mithril or whatever it is that
100%.
Yeah.
So I'm immediately like, this feels strange.
So what's happened though is that Yu Yu Hase has gone on alone now because every other person in his unit like has fallen behind.
So the next guy that we find he's like, you know, I don't really know where anybody went. And I'm not sure, maybe Yu Yu Hase went east. There was like a big scaly beast at one point, and then everybody split up, and we're like, okay, thanks, guy. I'll continue on. And I'm like, this just, like, what the fuck is going on here?
If this were a later expansion, I would have my, like, guard up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I brushed this off as being a Realm Reborn writing.
It could go either way.
Yes.
And I was kind of like, I was having mixed feelings about that. And I'm like, yeah, this seems just kind of very, very loose ARR type stuff where you just like, they're new. It's fine. But I was like, sprained ankle guy, this guy who doesn't know where anybody went, and he's all alone again. And then, so despite this questionable info, we head west, or east, rather, where Yu Yu Hase apparently went.
Unless I'm forgetting something, though, nothing comes of this. There's no ambush or anything, so there's nothing ill in play right now.
Nope. It just felt weird.
Yeah.
So
wrong. The only non-injured, non-tired Crystal Brave in the unit being Yu Yu Hase.
Yeah, quite the opposite, actually. He killed a dude.
Yeah, so he runs ahead, and he's now overwhelmed by a few of the heretics, but we get there and we fight them off, and then he's good to go. He tells us, though, that he found a message in one of their packs. He was so intent, actually, on chasing down this one guy that he got ambushed by the other guys. He was on the trail.
Yeah.
So this message he found, though, says, "Withdraw in groups of 3 or less to the observatorium. Give the signal and wait. The merchant will be watching. Be late and be left for dead."
Ooh. All right. So we're all going to head back to the observatorium, obviously. They're not going to go inside, so we're going to scout the perimeter for the yet another suspicious Coerthan.
And we find 2 suspicious Coerthans.
Mm-hmm.
They are arguing. One wants to leave now, while one complains that the woods are crawling with bluecoats and the knights are searching every wagon. So we now roll up, and this decides things for them. They book it, but now Ilbert appears from around the far side of the wall outside the observatorium and blocks their escape.
Ha-ha!
They go a third direction, but now Yugiri appears.
Yugiri is here!
And now they give up. They're hemmed in fully from all sides.
Yeah, so like we were following the note that Yu Yu Hase found, which was for the suspicious Coerthan. Meanwhile, Alfino and Ilbert and Yugiri were following a totally separate thread that led them to this merchant.
Yes. Before that, though, when she appears, she gives us a sweet line. "There are places like this in my homeland. sacred snow-capped peaks where blood must not be shed. Yet your lands ever thirst for the blood of the fallen, and by your deeds it has drunk deep. She says this.
Sick burn.
Yes,
to
our guys.
Christians,
yep.
Yes.
So they surrender. That was too much.
Yeah, they're like, fuck, we're getting
Slayed
tortured
by poetry.
Yeah.
And this is where Alphino arrives and tells us that they were here for unrelated business, actually.
They were doing Ivy stuff.
Ivy shit.
And that's when they found this merchant guy. They followed this guy, and this is where the two parties meet, apparently, which is very odd.
So apparently, though, the Garleans may actually be tied to this Lady Iceheart plot to some extent. Another tendril of the Ivy.
Indeed. God damn it.
Thanks to Yugiri's Shinobi, this info about this merchant came to light. And she says that she's always happy to offer assistance if it strikes back against the Garleans.
Oh, yes. We want a Shinobi spy. Yes.
So she will remain in the shadows, but trust she is always nearby, watching.
We will.
Not creepy.
It's not creepy because it's Yugiri.
Watching,
and
parentheses, not
awesome.
creepy.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So now Ilbert is off to quote-unquote interrogate the heretic and the merchant and see what happens.
And we are going to meet with him next time. That's where we leave off for now. Any comments, Jen? Once again, it's very hard to discuss this stuff because there's so much that is not yet revealed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Probably just zip it. Because I can't. I know what happens next. Yep. I know what happens in
this is very much in the kind of the building the mystery phase right now. And there's not much to, I guess we can't speculate because we know, and we don't want to obviously talk about it yet because spoilers. So stay tuned for next time, I suppose. Yeah.
So the development that is very interesting at this point is the merchant that they discovered in their Ivy investigations is somehow connected to this heretic and Iceheart's whole organization. Why is that? How is that? Yeah, a lot is happening, and it's all happening very quickly. So
yep. So with that, let's sign off for now. Next time, we're on to more patch 2.4 MSQ. Thank you once more to the team that ran SnowClick with us. Good times.
Yeah. Thank you, Freya. Thank you, Kiko. Good shit. And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and being cool, and gotta tighten that up. Thank you for listening to my awful outros every single time. Appreciate it. If you want to get in touch with us and tell me exactly why my outros are so bad, you can.
What the fuck?
At podreturnffxiv at gmail.com. Or you can check the show notes for our Discord and DM me. Don't DM me. And get in there and share photos of your pets, sign up for group runs, organize group runs of your own. There's something for everybody, and everybody is very, very nice. So check it out. And then we also have our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. And for a mere $1 a month, you get access to literally all of our bonus content. We have our Final Fantasy XI series, Vana'diel Van Splater. We have our episodes for all of the seasonal events in Final Fantasy XIV, and any other peripheral stuff, including the tabletop RPG that just came out. So give that a look-see. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.